Boros and Genos walk through the street of a highly populated city. The two of them are on their way to the facility where the next hero exam will be held.
I have to say, the doctor did an excellent job with his disguise. People actually don't find me suspicious at all.
I told you he's one of the best mechanics and inventors this Earth has to offer. I can only think of two others who might be on his level. But never mind that. Don't forget, you have to pass this exam with perfect scores all across the board. Do you remember all the theory I taught you?
Oh, come on, have some faith. You and Saitama had me study for the last 5 days straight and I'm no idiot. I'll definitely pass this stupid exam and get into the S class.
I'll hold you to it. The two warriors arrive at the location of the test and Genos leaves Boros to participate. Of course, Boros does not register under his real name and instead uses a fake name he and Genos had come up with beforehand, Kenji, meaning strong. While the exam is going on, the cyborg heads to the room where all the examiners are stationed and puts in a good word for Boros. In the end, Boros passes with a score of 99 out of 100, because he made a few grammar errors. Hey, cut him some slack, he had 5 days to learn all the basics of the grammar of the English language and how to be a hero, all while Saitama was looming over him menacingly. With a nearly perfect score and a recommendation from Genos, Boros becomes S-Class, rank 16, just above Tank Top Master and Puri Puri Prisoner, but below Genos and Metal Bat. And almost immediately after getting his status, he's assigned on a mission. The Hero Association is working overtime at this point, so as soon as they get a new pair of hands, they put them to work. With his power-limiting armor, Boros is around the same level of strength as Darkshine, so he's easily capable of dealing with most monsters, dragons included. And, knowing all the theory and rules of being a hero thanks to Genos, the alien does a pretty good job from the very start. Unlike C, B, and A-class heroes, S-class still gets some special treatment, and they don't have to work on rebuilding and evacuating cities, which leaves them free to handle monster attacks. So Boros spends his days simply patrolling the streets. He walks everywhere with Genos at first until the cyborg is convinced that Boros knows how to interact with people and eventually agrees to let Boros patrol on his own. The alien, for the first time since arriving on Earth, is able to observe the daily life of regular people. He sees shops, apartments, office buildings, markets, and so much more. This is his first time experiencing human culture properly, so it's a lot to take in. Of course, Genos made sure to educate Boros on the theoretical side of things, but hearing about something and actually seeing and interacting with it firsthand are two totally different things. The alien feels a bit awkward at first, but is soon able to adapt to society and plays the role of hero well. However, not all is well, as Garo is still running around hunting heroes. He steadily grows stronger as a result of this, but facing mere B and A-class heroes isn't enough. After he fully recovers from his battle with Watchdog Man, the human monster begins to search for his next S-class target. And Garo is soon able to find one in the form of Puri Puri Prisoner, who he beats pretty handily. Little does he know that his exploits catch the attention of a certain bird monster, who begins keeping a close eye on the hero hunter from afar. After an uneventful week of dealing mostly with disaster-level wolf weaklings, Boros finally hears an interesting announcement sound off across the city. A monster has appeared nearby, and it's estimated to be a demon-level threat.
Alright, finally something a bit more interesting.
Boros smirks before running over to the monster's location. Once he arrives, he sees a young woman with a curvy figure and dark green hair, in a green dress and white fur coat. Presumably a hero. However, the alien is a lot more interested in the monster the woman is facing. A giant hound with 6 eyes. Boros recognizes the dog instantly.
Hey, this thing was with the Monster Association. I remember it managed to survive some attacks from me. This is going to be the perfect test for my new armor.
The alien becomes quite excited. Meanwhile, Fubuki stands before Overgrown Rover, terrified.
What the heck is this thing? Nothing I do even phases it. That damned announcement was wrong.
This is clearly disaster-level dragon. The Esper thinks to herself before noticing the dog monster's mouth begin to glow. Her eyes widen as Rover shoots a massive energy blast at her. Fubuki desperately puts up a shield to protect herself, but is unsure if it will be enough. At that moment, Boros swoops into the scene, grabs the B-class hero and carries her out of the way of the attack. He lands on a nearby rooftop, lays the woman down and jumps back to the street to face the monster without saying a word, leaving Fubuki quite confused. Who is that? A hero? I've never seen him before. Is he new? The alien lands right in front of Rover and waves a hand at the creature.
Long time no see. How you been?
He asks with a grin on his face before getting ready to fight.
If I remember correctly, last time we met I considered taking you in as a pet. Let's see if that idea holds up.
Rover looks at the hero suspiciously. This guy, he reminds him of someone. But it couldn't be him, could it? The dog monster leans forward a bit and smells the alien. Suddenly, it recognizes the scent. There's no doubt about it. This is the guy who beat him up a while ago. Rover's eyes go wide. He turns around before dashing away in fear. The hero from outer space looks on confused.
What? Why are you running? Hey, come back!
He runs after the creature. Noticing this, the dog monster becomes even more terrified and starts running away faster, putting all its best efforts into escaping the alien, who, in order to keep up, increases his own speed to the maximum.
Hey, hold on! Are you scared of me or something?
Boros shouts as he's just barely able to close the distance between himself and the monster and grabs onto Rover's tail. This action gets a big reaction out of the dog monster. His eyes widen and he begins thrashing around, shaking and jumping all over the place in an attempt to get the alien to let him go. However, Boros holds onto the dog monster's fur and even begins crawling up the creature's back until he reaches the top of Rover's head.
Stop thrashing around, damn it! You're causing damage to the city!
Boros shouts as he punches the monster's head repeatedly with all the power his armor allows him to output. Rover howls in pain, but doesn't stop. Instead, he suddenly jumps into the air, flips over and lands on his back and head, crashing the alien into the ground as well. Boros grunts, but refuses to let go and punches Rover again. The dog gets back to his feet and shakes his head violently. The S-Class hero glances at his armor. It seems to be holding up fine, no cracks or anything like that.
The doctor really did a good job, didn't he? But still, if this goes on, I'm not sure how much more this gear can take. Hey, animal! You want me to let you go so badly? Fine!
He jumps into the air above Rover before rocketing at his head and crashing into his skull with a massive kick, forcing the monster to the ground. Boros lands right in front of the hound.
Now stay down,
he orders the creature. Rover responds by opening his mouth wide before attempting to chomp down on the alien. Boros raises his hands to catch the jaws, following his natural instinct to take attacks head-on. However, right as the monster's teeth are about to make contact with the palms of his hands, he remembers that he should probably avoid damage as much as possible to keep his suit intact. So at the last second, the S-Class hero jumps back and avoids the bite. Almost immediately after he does, Rover opens his mouth again and without warning shoots out a giant blast at the alien, who's still in the air. Due to the armor on his body, Boros can't simply release energy to propel himself out of the way. He can't dodge. He puts up his arms and legs to protect his body and takes the attack head-on. The energy explodes on his body upon contact.
No!
Fubuki shouts, still watching the battle from the rooftops. She becomes worried that the hero may have died from that last attack. However, as the explosion dissipates, the Esper sees the man still standing. His armor is a little singed up, but other than that, he seems unfazed. Boros himself looks at the armor in surprise.
Whoa! Only a slight burn mark from a blast like that? This armor is really something else. It might even rival the durability of my previous power limiting set. Maybe.
He marvels before turning to face the dog monster again, who has taken this time to stand back up. Rover growls before opening his mouth to shoot another blast.
Alright, that's enough!
Boros shouts and lunges at Rover again, ready to dish out a pummeling the dog monster wouldn't be forgetting anytime soon. A few minutes later, Rover's body hits the ground again, and Boros presses his head down to the ground with both hands while staring directly into Rover's eyes.
Listen up, you stupid animal. I am not going to hurt you anymore if you just calm the hell down. But if you don't, I'm going to have to kill you. So either you accept my offer, or I will be forced to leave your brain splattered all over the place. Now choose!
Rover growls a bit, before his voice softens into a whine. He stops resisting, which makes Boros sigh.
Finally! Took you long enough to submit. Though I will say, I like that fiery temper of yours. You'll make for a good pet for me.
He says with a satisfied smirk.
Pet? What do you mean, pet? You're not going to kill this thing?
Fubuki shouts to the S-Class hero, having floated herself down from the rooftop she was on before.
Why would I do that? This monster is acting exactly like a dog. He can be trained. Don't worry, I'll teach him some manners. Perhaps he can even help the Hero Association from time to time in dealing with other, less trainable monsters.
Are you insane? The Hero Association would never allow this.
The Esper objects instantly.
Huh, shows how much they understand. Monsters aren't all as unreasonable as you people think.
Boros retorts before turning to Rover and petting his head a little.
Alright boy, stand up.
As if on command, the dog monster rises to his feet.
Oh? Do you really understand my words? Sit.
Again, Rover complies and sits down. Boros smirks and turns to Fubuki with a smug smirk on his face.
See? It's all a matter of discipline. This one acts like a dog, so you've just gotta train it.
Fubuki looks on in pure shock and disbelief.
Anyway, this boy won't be very useful in cities. His size alone is enough to cause destruction. But I'll keep him somewhere. If there's ever a chance, I'll have him dispatch of some monsters.
Boros says before jumping onto Rover's back and sitting down.
Alright boy, time to go.
Wait, who are you?
Fubuki shouts. Boros looks down at her, still smirking.
I am the Class S, Rank 16 hero, Kenji.
While Boros works on taming Rover, an A-Class hero, Death Gatling, takes interest in hunting down the Hero Hunter in order to get more recognition from the Hero Association. He gathers a team of A and B-Class heroes, and this time around, he has more time to find more people for this operation. So instead of 8 heroes, he gathers 15 and sets off to search for Garo. Such a large group of heroes walking around the streets, of course, gets a lot of attention from the public, and the Hero Hunter soon hears of it. One day, Garo confronts the group in broad daylight. This fight is quite a bit different from the one in the original series. Obviously, there's more heroes this time, but Garo is also stronger, and by a good margin too. He's been hunting heroes for longer, and he's in top shape, unlike in the original fight. The Hero Hunter would likely also take the time to read up on the group hunting him before facing them, so he'd know all of their special moves and abilities, and their weaknesses. All this leads to Garo defeating the entire group within minutes. It's a bit of a struggle, but he succeeds and gets out of the area way before any stronger heroes can arrive. From a nearby rooftop, Phoenix Man watches on, quite pleased at what he's seeing.
He's quite strong. Definitely powerful enough to be of use for me as a partner.
Though I don't like that he keeps leaving his prey alive. Well, that can be worked through. I'm more concerned if he will actually be willing to cooperate with me. Later that same day, Sitch meets up with the bearded worker in Senegar in the Hero Association headquarters. He speaks up first. Any news regarding the C and B class hero disappearances?
Yes, but they're not good news. 7 more heroes have disappeared since our last meeting, and Senegar has stumbled onto some very concerning info that might be related to our current plight.
What is it? Local wildlife has been vanishing all around the continent. This started at around the same time the heroes started disappearing, and I believe it's no coincidence. If animals began vanishing in only one area, we could reasonably assume that a monster of some kind has established a living spot there and is devouring them. But this is different. All kinds of animals are going missing all over the continent with no rhyme or pattern. This cannot be the work of some mindless monster.
To add on to that, if this is the work of some entity, it has to be extremely intelligent. It's making sure we can't track down its location by targeting areas all around the world. Furthermore, it would have to be ridiculously fast to be able to get from one part of the continent to another in such a short amount of time. Either that, or we're dealing with not one, but with many threats at the same time.
What should we do, Sitch? Is there any report of an A-class hero vanishing yet?
No, there isn't.
Perhaps whatever is causing these disappearances is afraid of going up against the higher-ranked heroes? That would indicate that it's not very strong, or at least that it doesn't want to get our attention. I recommend sending a few A and S-class heroes to investigate all the areas where people and animals have vanished. And please inform every hero of what's going on. Have them form teams and take measures to protect themselves.
All right.